Hello, my dear learners. Welcome to a new session here at Skillfident with your mentor Namita. In today's class, we are going to simplify the process of thinking in English. Thinking in English is the biggest challenge for you. You feel that you get stuck because you're still not being able to think in English. Yes, I know it is the problem very common with all the English learners. Because our first language is not English, so there is nothing to worry about it. It is very natural to think about any situation or anything in the language that we are most comfortable with, our mother tongue. So you are not doing anything wrong. We simply have to now learn to think in English so that we can speak in English in the most comfortable manner, in the most fluent manner. So today we are going to simplify this process. I'm not sharing a lot of tips, techniques, tricks, methods. 2 steps, simply 2 steps. It's going to be a 2-step approach for all the English learners to start thinking in English on their own. But before that, let's very quickly talk about why you need to think in English. Though I know that you already know why it is so important, but still, from my end, it's my job as your teacher to tell you why you should think in English. See, the first reason is to avoid translation. You don't want to keep translating everything in your head from your mother tongue to English. You want to erase that process of translation. And if you want to speak good, polished English, you have to avoid translation. So when you start thinking in English, the whole process of translation gets omitted, and that's our goal. The second benefit is that thinking in English brings you closer to fluency. Being closer to fluency means that there are less pauses, you're not getting stuck, you're not fumbling, you're not taking a lot of time in responding to somebody when you're in a conversation. So this whole thing of thinking in English will take you a lot closer to building fluency. The third thing is that it helps you train your brain. Your mind learns to speak in English and processes the information easily for you so that the words can flow out of your mouth. You have to train your brain to think in English. And the fourth reason or the fourth benefit is that it helps you focus more on polishing your English skills. Polishing means developing good vocabulary, learning new words, learning new phrases, pronouncing the words correctly, everything, rather than simply thinking about translating. If you're always focused on thinking in English, converting the words from your mother tongue to English, then your whole focus will be only on translating. If you have already achieved that thing of thinking in English, then you'll be able to focus on working on your English. Otherwise, you'll be simply stuck on the thinking part. So today we are going to work on the thinking part so that we get rid of this problem of thinking in English forever. All right, now the very first step of this approach is what we have to do, and listen to me very carefully, my dear learners. You have to move from known to unknown zone of learning English. Now, what is known zone? A zone where you know that you are aware of certain words, the words which come naturally to you. Look at this, here is a plant, all right. Now, I know that it is a plant. I know that we grow plants. I know that these plants grow in soil, right? So if I have to create a simple sentence about plants, I can simply say, we need to grow more indoor plants because of the increasing pollution in the metro cities. The plants which release more oxygen. Now you're aware of the word plants, you know about growing, you know about metro cities, you know pollution, you know indoor plants. This is all a known zone for you. Every word is known to you. You can simply create a sentence out of it. But once you develop this sense of speaking in your comfortable zone, in your known zone, then you can move to something which is unknown to you, like propagate, propagation. this process of propagating plants is something you might not know. Some of you might know, but this is not a very commonly used word. Now, I have a money plant in my balcony which is there in the soil. What I need to do is I need to cut some of the stems and then place it in a water bottle so that it can grow inside my house, right? That is the process of propagation, creating more plants from one plant, right? Now, I'll create a sentence where I say, I will propagate more money plants in water from the big money plant that I have in my balcony. Now, this was not a very known zone to me like this. So first of all, we'll play in the zone which is very much known to us. The simple words, the simple vocabulary, the simple sentences. Once you get the hack of it, you feel that you're comfortable now, then step up and move to the unknown zone, the difficult vocabulary, new phrases, something which is not known to you. But you have to do this thing. Like books is something which you already know. If I talk about books, you know book is very simple. So if I have to create a simple sentence, I'll say, I must develop a reading habit, or I must develop the habit of reading books in order to become a fluent English speaker. Now, you're aware of reading, you're aware of books, you're aware of being a speaker, you're aware of fluency, everything. It's a known zone for you. Now, if I say that we all need to become avid readers. Now, what is an avid reader? I've never heard of this word. Ma'am, what are you saying? Now, this is what is moving to an unknown zone. Now, an avid reader is the one who reads as much as he or she can whenever they can. So, an avid reader is a person who reads a lot. Now you know what an avid reader is. So similarly, you have to move from the basic English reader, reading more books, to something like avid reader, or a bookworm, or bibliophile, or a voracious reader. Yes, that's a wonderful, wonderful term, voracious reader. When I say voracious, it means having an appetite for a lot of books. A person who we call as a voracious reader is the one who has an appetite for reading a lot of books. So, are you noticing in plants we moved from growing plants indoor, to propagation? In books reading, we moved from simply reading books and developing the habit to a voracious reader, to an avid reader, to a bookworm, to a bibliophile. By the way, there is an entire session on books, how you can form sentences. It was a very advanced level kind of session. So if you want to attend it, I'll link that over here. You're going to learn a lot about books and the new phrases and idioms, and it's a beautiful session. I personally love it. Okay, so this was the first step towards thinking in English. Once you start to learn from moving to your known zone, known area, to unknown one, you will develop this habit of thinking in English. But first of all, you have to think about simple words and sentences in English. Whatever you look at, start thinking about it. Now, the second step to this approach is you have to develop the habit of asking a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Look at anything and start asking questions. Questions like, if I ask myself, why am I making this video? Why am I creating a lot of free content? Being a professionally qualified teacher, my classes are doing fine, I'm making money, but why this? So my answer would be, because I need to reach a lot of other learners who are nowhere around my place. The faraway learners, they should also benefit from my experiences, my innovative techniques, my qualifications, my expertise. They need my lessons. I need to reach them. That's what I want. That's why I'm creating YouTube videos. I can definitely work with my learners, which I have in my hand, but coming here means reaching larger audience. That's what I want. You can also ask yourself, why am I learning English? I'm learning English because I want to upgrade my personality. I'm learning English because I want to work in a multinational company. I'm learning English because I want a promotion now in my office. I'm learning English because I want to start a business of my own where I might need to deal with people who speak good English already. Ask a lot of questions. Why am I watching Namita ma'am's video when there are thousands of other people who are coming here and sharing their experiences? The answer can be because I want a real experienced, qualified, certified teacher. I don't simply want to waste my time listening to a lot of learners. I want somebody who can guide me, under whose mentorship I can build my English speaking skills. That's why I've chosen Namita ma'am's video. And that should be true to some extent. What do you say? Okay. So ask a lot of questions to yourself. One question I want to give all of you is, you need to ask yourself, how will self-learning make me more fluent in English rather than spending money on courses, institutions, or classes? How, according to you, self-learning will benefit you? This is a question. Start answering it. Look at anything around you and ask questions. Why is my home like this? Why is the weather a little gloomy today? Anything, whatever you feel, start talking about it. So this two-step approach says the first thing is build a zone for yourself which is known to you first. For a few days, keep working with the words that you know, the sentences that you know, the phrases you know, and then move to a little slightly upgrading your English speaking, vocabulary, everything. And the second thing is keep asking questions. So when you are asking questions from your mouth, your mind will answer it in English only because your question was in English. That's what we need to do. So simply use this two-step approach, but there are a few things that you need to keep in your mind. Don't just blindly go with this. What are those things? The first thing is you have to keep this whole process of thinking in English simple. In the beginning, keep your words simple, keep your sentences simple, keep your approach simple. You're not supposed to complicate it. Keep it as simple as you can. The second thing that you need to remember is imperfections are absolutely allowed. Mistakes are absolutely allowed. Don't refrain yourself from making mistakes. Imperfections make you unique. It leaves a scope for improvement. None of us is a perfect being. So embrace your imperfections so that you can keep improving, right? So don't be scared of your imperfections or the mistakes or speaking wrong. Speak incorrect, just speak. First of all, for letting your mind think more and letting your mouth speak more, you have to keep making mistakes and keep speaking incorrect sentences. That is allowed. The third thing that you have to remember is that we are learning to speak in English fluently in order to express our thoughts and ideas, not to impress the people around us. Let people not get impressed first. Yes, in your job you have to impress your bosses and everything. That is a later stage. Right now our aim, our goal is simply to express our thoughts, ideas, whatever is coming out of our imagination. So build this habit of thinking in English to express yourself, not to impress the people around you. And the last thing that all of you need to keep in your mind is that thinking in English or learning to speak in English fluently is a process. It is a process. It doesn't happen at once. It's not like you've watched a video, you sleep the night and the next morning you'll immediately start thinking in English. It's a process. It happens gradually. You have to keep giving yourself situations to speak about. You have to keep asking questions about everything around you. You have to simply think about the words, the different words that are there. Whichever you're getting your eyes on, think of it in English and then create a simple sentence out of it. That's how it works. So please don't think that it'll happen at once. It takes time. Be patient. Be a learner for lifetime and keep learning more things. Keep polishing your English. Keep converting the incorrect into the correct ones. Keep correcting your mistakes and keep becoming a fluent English speaker, right? So this was all about thinking in English. Do you think you can actually work on this two-step approach? If yes, then leave a comment. I'll wait for it. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye for now.